Igneous rocks. Okay, what are igneous rocks? Igneous rocks are the rocks that are solidified from the molten magma or lava. Okay, these are also called as primary rocks. Basically, there are three types of igneous rocks. The first one is the volcanic rock, second one is the plutonic rock, and the third one is the hyperbasal rock. If you see the figure over here, the rocks that solidify on the surface of the earth is called as volcanic rocks. They are also called as extrusive rocks. The rocks that solidify deep below the surface of the rock, surface of the earth, is called as plutonic igneous rocks. Okay, and intermediate near the surface of the earth is called as the hyperbasal rocks. These are the basic theory which you have to understand for the identification of igneous rocks. Discussing about the different colors of igneous rocks. Acidic, based on the color actually is based on the silica content. It is classified into acidic, intermediate, basic, and ultra basic. Acidic igneous rocks will have greater than 65% of silica content, so they will be light in color. Okay. Intermediate rocks will have silica content between 55 to 65%. They will have intermediate color. You can observe in the photograph over here. Basic igneous rock will have between 45 to 55 degrees. So you can see darker minerals over here. And in the ultra basic rock, it depends upon the composition. If the material, the mineral that is solidifying is olivine, it forms a rock called as dunite and it will be green in color. And if it is any pyroxenes, it will be black in color. Okay, so based on color, it will be, you can easily identify the igneous rock. So color becomes one important parameter for the identification of igneous rock. Now discussing about the textures. So generally, if we go back to the slide and if you see, if the rock solidifies deep below the surface of the earth, it will get ample time for solidification. So the crystal grains will be very big, which means to say the grain size will be visible to the naked eye. But when it is solidifying on the surface of the earth, what happens because of the atmospheric presence of water and air, it will solidify immediately. So it will be very, very fine grained and the grains will only be visible under a microscope. Yeah, coming to the hyperbasal rock, it is in intermediate again. So intermediate means what happens? Some minerals will be will have a bigger grain size and some minerals will have very, very small grains. And because of the convection currents, whenever you keep a small glass of you keep water for boiling on the stove, what happens? Because of the convection currents, the water that is cooler on the top will go down and the water that is already heated up will come up. So these are called as convection currents. This happens even in the earth. And there will be a mixture of grains in case of hyperbasal rock. So the presence of equal grains are called as equigranular texture. Okay, if grain size is unequal, then it is inequigranular. Okay, if it is very, very fine grain, what happens? For the escape of gases, it may create some holes which are called as vesicles. So it is called as the vesicular texture. And if these holes are filled up with secondary minerals like quartz, zeolite, etc., then it is called as amygdaloidal texture. So these are the four important textures which you have to keep in mind for identification of igneous rocks. There are many, many, many more textures, but still I have given you superficially whatever is there in your syllabus. So four textures, what you have to keep in mind is equigranular texture, inequigranular texture, vesicular texture, and amygdaloidal texture. So coming to the key chart, this actually I had made you write while teaching theory as well. Yeah, so if you remember the key chart, what I had showed to you during your theory classes, so whatever I discussed till now, see, based on silica content, igneous rocks are classified into acidic, intermediate, basic, and ultra basic. And based on origin, it is volcanic, hyperbasal, and plutonic. We get different types of igneous rocks. Okay. If the composition is basic. That is, it consists of 45 to 55% silica. Then, it is basalt actually, 45% to 55% silica, and it is solidified on the surface of the earth. Then the rock is basalt. Similarly, if the silica content in that particular rock is 66%, there is a special type of rock that is called as rhyolite, which is not there in the syllabus. So the blank spaces, whatever it is shown over here, it doesn't mean that you don't have a rock over there. You have it, but it is not there in your syllabus, so I have not included. So for identification, this will be your key chart, which is very, very important. Okay, so if you remember this key chart, it will be easy for you guys to identify. You have to literally know this. I'm not going to give this identification chart in your examinations. Please keep that in mind. Okay, then speaking about hyperbasal rocks, there are two hyperbasal rocks over here. One is granite porphyry, the other one is dolerite. In plutonic rocks, we have three types. That is granite, diorite, and gabbro. And we have one unique type of rock which is called as the pumice. So these are the igneous rocks which you have in your syllabus. And mineral assemblage, you can see. This particular graph gives a mineral assemblage. Okay, this dotted lines will give you the demarcation. So if you are choosing granite and granite porphyry, obviously the minerals that is present in that will be alkali, feldspar, quartz, and some portion of plagioclase feldspar, but biotite, muscovite, and amphiboles will be the accessory minerals present in this particular rock. Like this, you have to understand this chart. If you remember this chart, it will be very easy for you to identify the igneous rocks. So now, speaking about the first rock, once you observe this particular rock, you can see that, it's a combination of gray and so a sort of gray, somewhat dark minerals are also present, but light colored, this is a light colored mineral because too much of gray colored material is present. So you have to decide that this is an acidic igneous rock. See, light colored mineral, silica percentage is greater than 66%. Light colored minerals are present, so it is acidic igneous rock. So one thing you can conclude based on this is either this should be granite porphyry or it is granite. Now looking again to the sample, you can see that the grain size are almost equal. You are not seeing any unequal grains over here, which means to say if the grain size are equal, the texture exhibited is equigranular texture. You can see equigranular texture here in the chart. So it is an acidic rock. You were confused whether it's a granite porphyry or a granite, but it is equigranular texture. Second point is equigranular texture. Based on that, you have identified this particular rock as quartz. Now, so what is the chart you are supposed to do? The way we write the minerals, we also have to write this chart for the rocks also. So first thing, what did you observe? You observed the color. Color is grayish white. Most of the minerals present is gray. So texture is equigranular, we just discussed. Okay, grain size is medium. Medium means it is visible to the naked eye. Okay, so what are the essential minerals means you can go back to the chart. You have already identified this to be granite. So probably alkali feldspars and granites are the essential minerals present in this rock. So in the essential mineral sector, you will write potassium feldspars and quartz. And what would be the accessory minerals? Accessory minerals means it is present in very, very small amount. So muscovite and biotite are clearly visible over here. You can see a small portion of amphibole, a small portion of a considerable amount of plagioclase is also present. Okay, and so in very small amount you have muscovite and biotite, which are the varieties of granite. So you will say that accessory minerals over here will be mica. You write mica, that should be sufficient. And speaking about how to identify these minerals in the rock, all these dark colored minerals, whatever you are seeing, somewhat dark colored minerals, all those are plagioclase feldspars. All these gray colored minerals, okay, gray to pink colored minerals, whatever you are observing, see, you are observing over here, all these are alkali feldspars. Okay. And finally, all white colored material, whatever you observe, white to gray colored material, whatever you are observing, are nothing but quartz. Okay. In certain times you can observe, see over here, there is a shining somewhat. When I have taken the photograph, you can see some shining in the minerals. Okay. These minerals are nothing but micas. So this is how you can identify one igneous rock like this. So based on these observations, you will write that this rock is gray colored granite. And what is the use of the granite for you in civil engineering? It can be used for any civil engineering purpose for that matter. It is a good road metal. It is a good building material. It's a good ornamental stone. Okay, for anything for that matter, because it does not possess any primary porosity, this rock will be suitable for civil engineering purpose. So where all do you see granites? South India, whatever structures you see are made up of granites. You can see. Can you identify this? Anybody? Can anybody identify this? This is Vidhan Sauda. Okay, our icon of Karnataka. Actually, this is the administrative office of Karnataka. This is completely made up of granites. And this is a Brihadeshwara temple from Tamil Nadu, Tanjavur. Okay, this is also made up of granite. This is considered to be a civil engineering marvel. There is a video available in the net, you can observe. And this is the famous Gomateshwara that is present in Shravanabelagula. This is also made up of granites. See, generally for Viva, they may ask you to say some monuments or architectural use of granites or something. If they ask you like that, you have to answer like this. The next mineral, sorry, next rock, whatever we are saying, you can see the grains are clearly visible over here also. But as compared to the previous one, dark colored minerals are more. Correct? So let us go to the chart now. Dark colored minerals are more. Okay. And you can see that the grains are easily visible and more or less of same size. So this is also of equigranular texture. So dark colored mineral, equigranular texture means it could be gabbro or diorite. It is actually gabbro. Diorite I don't give you because we don't have this sample in our laboratory. Don't worry about it. Okay. This is gabbro. How do you differentiate granite and gabbro is the next question now. As I said before, granite will have much of light colored minerals as compared to gabbro. See, granite, light colored minerals are more, equigranular texture is there. But gabbro also has equigranular texture, but dark colored minerals are more. This is how you can identify and differentiate the different rocks. Now looking at the chart, you can write the other properties. Color, it is almost intermediate. Whatever you observe is what you are writing over here. It need not be whatever, you need not mug up and write it. So whatever you observe is what you can write. Texture, equigranular. Grain size is visible, so it is medium grain. Essential minerals, go back to the chart and see for gabbro. What do you have? It is plagioclase feldspars. Much of the gabbro will have, see, over here in this box, you have too much of plagioclase feldspars, and you will have some amount of pyroxenes and a portion of olivine. Olivine may be present, may not be present. Okay, so accessory minerals will be based on the chart. You have observed that the accessory mineral is olivine. Since dark colored minerals are very, very high, the specific the specific gravity obviously will be high. Lighter the color of the rock, lighter the color of the rock, specific gravity will be low in case of igneous rocks. Please keep that in mind. Okay, and you can observe some micas as well. See, there's some portion of shining over here and all. Okay, so these are mica. So you can also write accessory by mica also to be an accessory mineral over here. So what type of rock is this? That is what is mode of formation all about. So the mode of formation, you can see it is a plutonic igneous rock. How did you identify that this is a plutonic igneous rock? Based on the equigranular texture. Okay, so what are the uses of this? please remember, igneous rocks, you can use it comfortably for any civil engineering purpose for that matter. It can be used for ornamental stone, as a railway ballast, road metal, whatever you write will be correct. Next, this particular, this is also this you can observe over here. If you observe carefully, so you have certain minerals which are bigger in size as compared to small. See, I'm trying to compare the same mineral, but they are of different sizes, which means to say that it is an equigranular. It is not an equigranular textured rock. The grain size over here is unequal, so it is in equigranular texture. So next, what you can see, light colored minerals are more as compared to dark colored minerals over here as well. Probably this is an acidic igneous rock. So now speaking about the different minerals that is present in this particular rock. If you remember your mineralogy, you can see that the gray colored feldspar that was present was orthoclase. So all the pink colored material that is present, pink colored minerals that is present is orthoclase, and all the minerals over here is orthoclase feldspars. There are certain material that is shining too much here and all these are micas, and it is showing, you can also observe some quartz which is showing vitreous texture. See over here, these are all, it is showing vitreous texture, which means to say it is quartz. So based on this particular type, if you go back to this thing, look for the appearance. Basically, grain size is unequal, means it is inequigranular texture. The rock types that is present should be either granite, porphyry or dolerite based on the chart. But you have too many light colored minerals that is present, so 99% it is granite, porphyry. Now look for the minerals. So minerals you are seeing, it is pink in color. Pink colored minerals, if you remember whatever you have studied, two things you have studied. One is rose quartz, the other one is almost flush colored orthoclase feldspar. So orthoclase feldspar means alkali feldspar. So it is pakka that it is granite, porphyry. So based on the chart, you can write the table over here. Okay, this is the other side of the same rock, or another one. You can see that gray colored pink colored minerals, whatever you are seeing is orthoclase. Dark colored is plagioclase feldspars. Okay, so now and then you can see small specks of micas. Okay, so what is the color of the mineral? Pink and pinkish white basically. Texture, grain size is unequal. So what happens? It is inequigranular texture. Inequigranular, there are various types of inequigranular texture. So the one exhibited by this rock is called as porphyritic. If you don't remember porphyritic, fine. Please remember that it is inequigranular texture. Grain size is medium to big, medium to large also you can write. Whatever you see is what you are writing over here. Please keep that in mind. Essential minerals, you have identified this as potassium feldspars, and some amount of quartz are also present. Accessory minerals, if you look into the chart, you will have biotite, muscovite and amphiboles. Whatever you remember, biotite, amphiboles, muscovite, you have to write it over here. Specific gravity, as I said, the darker minerals, higher will be the weight of the sample. Since the light colored minerals are high over here, you have to write write this as medium. And since it is inequigranular texture, the mode of formation you can comprehend is it is hyperbasal igneous rock. Based on all this observation, you have identified this sample as pink granite porphyry. Uses, again and again I'm stressing, you can use it for anything for that matter. Igneous rock doesn't possess any primary porosity. Comfortably you can use it for any civil engineering purpose. In module 2, we had discussed about the different purposes when we were discussing the theory. Next, okay, you can see that the minerals are, this is all complete dark colored rock. So dark colored rock, obviously it should be either basalt, dolerite or gabbro. Gabbro, you have seen equigranular texture is completely visible. So you may get confused between basalt and dolerite right now. But there is one problem over here in the sample, whatever we have. since it is completely black in color, you will not be able to make out the change in the grain size. It looks same. So you just assume this to be dolerite. It is a request. Okay, so speaking about this thing, color, what will you write? It is black. Texture, inequigranular. If you carefully observe, see some of the minerals over here are bigger ones as compared to very, very small minerals over here. See, you can see a small mineral over here. Mineral speck. It is embedded within. Okay, so inequigranular texture. Grain size, medium to fine. Okay, essential minerals, feldspars and pyroxenes that can be observed in the chart. See, essential minerals will be feldspars, plagioclase feldspars and pyroxenes. Then accessory minerals, biotite mica and amphiboles. I'm sorry. Specific gravity is high. Mode of formation is hyperbasal igneous rock. Based on the color of the rock, you have identified this particular rock as dolerite. As I said, this is particularly, you can use it for any purpose for that matter. And most of the times, if you observe in the kitchens, they give you a dark black slab. Okay, generally in the houses, you can see a jet dark colored, black colored granite, and the black granite is a commercial name for dolerite. This is particularly used for kitchen slabs. Okay. Next, this is one more sample we have in the college. And speaking about the next rock, you can see vesicles over here. Okay, so holes are present means clearly understood that this is a volcanic igneous rock. Moreover, in the volcanic igneous rock, the holes are also covered up with secondary minerals like zeolites, quartz, etc. Okay, so pakka this is a vesicular texture or a amygdaloidal textured rock, and you can identify this to be basalt. Volcanic igneous rock, we have only one sample, that is basalt. Okay, so what is the texture you will write? Either you can write it as vesicles because empty holes are also present over here, and secondary filling is also over here. So you can write it as amygdaloidal or vesicular texture. So this is a basalt. Okay, what is the minerals that is present? It is plagioclase, feldspars and pyroxenes, and accessory minerals will be olivine. Okay, so how do we identify now? Color, it is somewhat black to gray, whatever you feel like writing, please write it over here. Texture is fixed, amygdaloidal or vesicular. Grain size, fine grain because it's a volcanic igneous rock, very clearly known. Essential mineral, what will be the essential mineral over here? It is either dolerite or gabbro. Okay, next. Accessory minerals, quartz group of minerals or zeolite group of minerals. Zeolites are used for softening. So you can also remember the zeolites. Specific gravity, as I said, is a dark colored mineral, means it's very clearly the specific gravity will be high. Mode of formation, it is a volcanic igneous rock, and based on these particular properties, you have identified this mineral as basalt. Okay, speaking about the uses, it is used for any purpose for that matter, starting from road metals to railway bellas, or for pavements, concrete technology, anything for that matter can this material, this particular rock can be used. And this is one more basalt only. You can see vesicles over here. Vesicles are less over here. Please don't get confused. And in a large vesicle, you can see a quartz deposition. Inverted. When I have inverted the same sample, you can observe. Please observe carefully. This is the only way we can study this year. Okay, so this is about basalts. So it's a view next to one another. Just back to back. I have just shown it together to you guys. Okay, what are the structures constructed with the with basalt? Anybody from North Karnataka? This is Gol Gumbas. The other building is Bidar fort. This is Ajanta and Ellora caves. So entire north portion of Karnataka, entire Maharashtra, southern portion of Gujarat, and some eastern portion of Madhya Pradesh completely consists of basalts. And this is one more rock that you observe in igneous rocks. Here, this also clearly shows that these are vesicles. This is a man-made vesicle. Please don't get confused. These are the natural vesicles that is present. Okay. So, looking at the table, you can see, okay, we have discussed about all other material other than pumice. Probably this could be a pumice. How do you identify a pumice? When you hold pumice, it is very, very, very light-weighted. Very lightweight. Specific gravity is low over here. The specific gravity is so low that it can even float on water. Yes, a rock can also float on water. It is nothing but pumice. Okay, so the pumice rock can be formed of any composition for that matter. However, the one I'm showing over here is light in color. Light colored pumice is you are observing. So probably it consists of minerals like alkali, feldspars, and quartz. How does pumice form? When the volcanic eruption takes place, because of the enormous pressure, some amount of gases escapes away first. These gases, upon solidification, forms pumice. Okay, so writing the table. So what will be the color? Color is gray. Texture is vesicular. Grain size, very, very fine grain. Essential mineral, it depends, and it is mostly feldspars. You can observe in the chart that there are basically two types of feldspars: alkali feldspars and plagioclase feldspars. And feldspars are the major rock, component of the rock forming minerals. So undoubtedly you can write feldspars for every igneous rock, absolutely no problem. Okay, accessory minerals will not be there over here because this itself will form when the gaseous or the mud material solidify, these rocks form. So no accessory minerals will be present, and because of for the escape of gases, it creates too many vesicles. Because of its specific gravity also will be very, very low, and the mode of formation will be volcanic. So based on the more number of vesicles and lighter weight, you have identified this particular mineral as pumice. Why you are using it? This is used for lightweight concrete. Whenever you are doing the skyscrapers and all, this is generally used. Other than that, we also use this for cleaning purposes. Cleaning purposes means basically for your manicure, pedicure and all. Generally, you use this particular type of rock. So you can see a pavement that has been constructed with the help of pumice, and this is also used for scrubbing pedicure basically. So this is about igneous rocks.